Joining us to discuss today's headlines is Employment and Workplace Relations Minister Amanda Rishworth and Deputy Opposition Leader Ted O'Brien. Good morning, guys. Nice to see you. Okay, another busy night. Amanda, do you want a day to work out your response or you all good?
Oh, well, look, Carl, I think it's pretty clear that we condemn the attacks on US bases in both Qatar and Iraq. We do want to see, as we've been calling for, a de-escalation, a return to diplomacy and dialogue. It is time for Iran to come to the table and for us to de-escalate this conflict. That's what needs to happen, and that's what the Australian government will be calling for.
Ted, there may have been a little bit of show in all of this. We'll see how it pans out, but it was coordinated. Everyone knew about it. Do you support, though, more US intervention?
Carl, I think that what we've seen is a clear violation of Qatari sovereignty with these strikes. I think they need to be condemned. I do note, nevertheless, that President Trump has indicated they did get prior warning. There has been no casualties or deaths. I think it is now time for Iran to come to the table and accept the invitation from Donald Trump to now discuss peace and a way forward. We cannot have an Iran with a nuclear weapon. That is the red line that cannot be crossed. The action of the United States was decisive. The coalition supported from the get-go that action. I'm glad to hear Amanda this morning, and since our response as a coalition, the government has now come on board and is also backing in the United States here.
Okay, it may not have been as effective as we think, these hits on Iran in terms of dismantling their nuclear facility. Do you support more hits on that facility, Amanda?
Well, I think these strikes were very targeted by the reports from the US. They have been effective in disrupting the nuclear facilities, and that was what their focus was. Of course, the world for a long time has recognised that it is inconceivable that Iran gets access to nuclear weapons, and we, for the peace and stability of the world, that's been important.
Okay, but more hits on that facility. Would you support that?
Well, the US has been pretty clear that it thinks it was a successful targeting of those facilities, but we want to see a return to diplomacy to actually de-escalate this, because a wider conflict in the Middle East is an incredibly difficult circumstance that no one wants to see.
Is there anything wrong with the PM? He was defensive, dismissive and really on edge yesterday.
Oh, look, I think you were watching a different press conference to me, Carl.
Oh, come on,
What
Amanda.
we saw was the Prime Minister... No, what we saw was the Prime Minister come out and clearly explain Australia's position, clearly explain that we don't have a central role in this conflict, and clearly explain what we're doing for Australians in the region.
You don't think he was defensive at all?
We are a methodical government, Carl. You might be used to the chaos of previous coalition governments coming up with different positions, but we're a methodical government.
Well, just a position on a world event would be good within 24 hours.
Well, that is incorrect. There was a statement put out, and then the Prime Minister stood up and had a press conference with the Foreign Minister, who has also been out doing media.
Who was that spokesperson, by the way?
We are a methodical government that's going to work through issues very clear-eyed in the national interest, and we're going to keep doing that.
Do you know who that spokesperson was? I don't know who it was.
Well, I don't have the statement in front of me, but there was a statement put out and then a very lengthy press conference.
Unfair question. Ted, it's a complex diplomatic dance at the moment. I'm just not sure where it places our relationship with the US. It certainly means that we're out of the loop, and that could have disastrous consequences for security and trade.
Indeed, Carl, and this is why the lack of leadership from the Prime Minister is so serious. On the very day that the US struck Iran, the Prime Minister was silent. He put out no statement. He did not speak to the Australian people. He did not call a meeting of the National Security Committee. He did not come out and decisively back the United States, our key ally. Unfortunately, that only weakens our relationship with the United States, and it sends a very dangerous message to the world that Australia under this government is passive. It's a failure of a leadership test.
Amanda, I mean, there are many ways to describe what's happened. Do you think trade and security are an issue with the US, just quickly?
I think we have a very good relationship with the US, and quite frankly, Ted needs to take a breath for a moment. We are not central to this dispute. We are not a player in this dispute. And our relationship with the US is a very close relationship. It's one which the President himself has described a very warm affection to our Prime Minister. It's a good relationship, and quite frankly, Ted talking our country down serves no purpose whatsoever except opposition for opposition's sake.
Still not sure when we're going to get that face-to-face. Appreciate your time.